Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Tonight, we are stepping into one of the darkest chapters in American criminal history. Our story is called Ted Bundy, the monster behind the mask. At first glance, he seemed intelligent, polite, charming, and trustworthy. He smiled with confidence, spoke with ease, and blended into society so perfectly that almost no one suspected the nightmare hiding beneath the surface. But behind that friendly face lived a predator whose name would become one of the most terrifying in history. Turn down the lights, get comfortable, and let's begin. It was the early 1970s. Across the United States, young women began disappearing without warning. Some vanished after leaving college classes. Others disappeared while walking to their cars or simply enjoying a normal afternoon. Families waited for phone calls that never came. Friends searched for answers that never arrived. Police believed these disappearances were unrelated. No one realized that one man was quietly moving from state to state, leaving fear wherever he went. His name was Theodore Robert Bundy, known to the world as Ted Bundy. He never looked like the monster people imagined. He wasn't frightening. He didn't hide in dark alleys wearing strange clothes. Instead, he looked like the kind of man parents would trust and strangers would gladly help. That was his greatest weapon. Bundy understood something terrifying about human nature. People wanted to believe that evil looked obvious. He proved that it didn't. He often approached young women wearing a fake arm cast or using crutches. His voice sounded calm and respectful. He would politely ask for help loading books into his car or moving a small boat. Most people saw a wounded man, asking for a simple favor. Few imagined they were walking directly into a carefully planned trap. Witnesses later described seeing a handsome man, introducing himself as Ted. That simple name became one of the most haunting details in the investigation. Once his victims reached his car, everything changed. Investigators believe he attacked quickly, leaving almost no chance to escape. Many victims were never seen alive again. Their disappearances spread panic throughout college campuses across America. Parents begged their daughters to avoid walking alone. Students looked over their shoulders. Fear slowly replaced the sense of safety that had once existed. Yet somehow Bundy continued living what appeared to be a normal life. He studied law. He volunteered in politics. He spoke confidently with friends and co-workers. Some even described him as kind and intelligent. The contrast between his public image and his secret life was almost impossible to understand. As investigators slowly connected the cases, one detail kept appearing. Witnesses repeatedly described the same charming man with dark hair driving a light-colored Volkswagen Beetle. The search intensified. Eventually, police arrested Bundy after a traffic stop. At first, there wasn't enough evidence to hold him for murder. But as detectives searched his vehicle, they discovered disturbing items that raised even more questions. Still, the nightmare wasn't over. While awaiting trial, Bundy accomplished something almost unbelievable. He escaped. Not once, twice. The first escape shocked authorities. The second terrified the entire country. After slipping through a hole in the ceiling of a jail cell, Bundy disappeared into the night and traveled across state lines. For weeks, no one knew where he was. Families prayed he wouldn't strike again. Sadly, their fears became reality. In Florida, the violence returned with horrifying intensity. One night, Bundy entered a college sorority house while the residents slept peacefully inside. Within minutes, the building became the scene of unimaginable horror. Several young women were brutally attacked before anyone fully understood what was happening. Survivors later described sounds that still haunted them for the rest of their lives. The attacks sent shock waves across America. The country now realized they weren't chasing an ordinary criminal. They were hunting a calculating predator who seemed to feel no empathy, no guilt, and no remorse. Eventually, a routine traffic stop finally brought Bundy back into custody. This time there would be no escape. His trial became one of the first major criminal cases broadcast extensively on television. Millions of Americans watched as Bundy smiled, joked, questioned witnesses, and even acted as his own attorney. To many viewers, his behavior was deeply unsettling. He appeared calm while facing accusations involving unimaginable violence. Psychologists later studied his personality for years. How could someone appear so normal while hiding such darkness? No single answer has ever fully explained it. As overwhelming evidence continued to emerge, Bundy was found guilty. Years later, while awaiting execution, he finally admitted responsibility for numerous murders, although investigators believe the true number may never be known. Some experts suspect there were many more victims whose stories were lost forever. Even today, forests, mountains, and abandoned roads connected to his crimes continue to attract investigators, historians, and curious visitors searching for answers that may never be found. Ted Bundy's story remains terrifying, not only because of what he did, but because of what he represented. He destroyed the comforting illusion that monsters always look frightening. Sometimes they smile, sometimes they speak politely, sometimes they earn your trust before revealing who they truly are. His crimes permanently changed how law enforcement agencies shared information across state lines, influenced criminal profiling, and reminded an entire nation that appearances can be dangerously deceptive. The real horror isn't only what happened decades ago. The real horror is realizing that evil doesn't always announce its arrival. Sometimes, it politely asks for your help. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this story and would like to hear more true crime and terrifying real-life cases from American history, be sure to join us again for our next episode. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware,